Hello, welcome everyone to my channel. My name is Arta and I want to show you how to do that beautiful single crochet. It's actually in US term and double crochet it's for UK. Those works. Usually when we are starting, it's sides can end up like this one. You see how it's kind of not even. And in here you kind of straight one. So I will show you those few tricks and that you can and tips how you can keep those sides straight. And so when you're taking your remember when you do your slip stitch, that slip knot, so you can take working yarn over, pay, take, make a loop like that, put the back, and in the middle you taking out the loop, okay? That's your slip knot, okay? So I will make a chain. What do you like? I will make just only a few, just makes easier for you, okay? So when I do first single crochet, it's in the US, or double crochet in UK, I usually make in a that back loop, not in a that V stitch what's in the front in here, but in a back loop. I'm making that first yarn pull through, yes, and make single crochet or double crochet. It's in UK, so you're making and when you're doing like that, it's you see that line in here, it's nicely done. So it just kind of finish work. It's really nice. So and it just kind of it's nice finish when you finish your work. So I just kind of making those single crochet. It's in the UK, or sorry, single crochet it's in US, and double crochet it's in UK. So when you're making first one. So it just kind of it's where's a lot people getting it's originally it's everybody goes one chain and turning work. I actually turn work in a back, so it just kind of knows that chain it's in that on the top. It's kind of goes nicely kind of finish, and then it's you doing in a first stitch what's in here, in the first you're doing pull yarn over and single crochet or double crochet in UK. So it just kind of it's your first stitch in here, and that the chain of one is kind of it stays on the side, it just kind of nicely locks in here. So it's that then you're thinking why I have that loop on the side. You see, it just kind of on the side, this one's in here. That's kind of no, when it's actually when you're doing single crochet and when you're turning your work and like that, when you're making that first, no, you can see it's in here, your first stitch. When you're making yarn over, that's where that it's kind of makes that loop around. So sometimes how we are turning your work sometimes can really make those loops. In here it's straight line. So it's kind of that's kind of my tips, So when you are turning like that, it's kind of, you see, it makes this, that kind of thing. But where you are actually kind of, I will take out. So when you are making the chain one. You're turning work away from you. This kind of like, you are just kind of going on the back, That's kind of like, we usually kind of, when we're making a chain, so we are usually kind of like, okay, it's that work goes in the front, on the front of us. That's where it's that makes that loop on the side. But when you are actually put your work away, like away from you, that makes like nice way how you actually finish. So, and you're making in the first stitch, you are making that pull yarn over and pull yarn all through those loops. So that it's your single crochet it's in US or double crochet in UK. So that way kind of like keeps your works kind of keeps your edges straight. Yes. Then it's another thing. One more like few things like kind of like that kind of like keeps your, you see that work is kind of like I will do one more time. So single crochet, sorry, chain one, and you are putting your work not in the front of you, but away from you. That way. That kind of keeps that work nice and tidy. That's one tip that is kind of try to keep those sides straight. You see how it's actually kind of goes. It's kind of keeps your sides, because how you actually turning your work, it's can you like make those loops on the side, or try and do your work straight, okay, side straight. That's one tip. Another tip, it's just kind of you don't make any chain. So you can turn your work away from you, and that is kind of like no yarn. It's actually like almost in the front of your work. That yarn it's kind of slides in the front. So on the first stitch you're making single crochet. That's in US, or double crochet in UK. That it's pull yarn over. So you have two loops on the hook and pull through those two ones. So it just kind of like keeps that kind of like stitch on the side. Just kind of remember what way you are doing your work. So then you're making all where is that single crochet, or in US, or double crochet in UK. So when you are just kind of like don't pull too high. Yes, it just kind of leave it as it is, and pull like turn your work away. It just kind of like like a wing, and it's end up yarn it's kind of in the front of your work. You see, it's yarn, it's in the front of your work. So when you do like that, kind of like it's kind of pull yarn over, pull through loops. So now as we are coming in the back, like on the side, remember that like first loop, you just kind of remember you need a crochet. So it's kind of like pull through yarn, and that way you see it's just kind of you as well keeping your work, it's nice. Then like other one, you can put your work on a towards yourself. That's your yarn, it actually goes in the back. You see the yarn in the back. When it's in yarn in the back, you can do as well. Yes, same thing you can do. Yes, just don't make any chain. It just kind of this way like go. Yes, when you do like that, it seems like that on the side Like you can't even see it, but when you understand how it works, so you can work around that way. So it's easy. When you are working around, you see that loop from previous row, it's kind of stays, you can see it. You can see that was a, but it's kind of like, no, but it doesn't make any like difference. It still keeps your sides straight. So one more time, I will show you how. So you don't make any chains. Just turn your work. So it just kind of, yeah, yarn. It goes back. So when it's kind of, you can see like, when you're turning your work back away, your yarn ends up in the front of your work. So when you do like that one, so you can like it's, remember when you do crochet in a first loop, so you make a single crochet in US or double crochet in the UK. So pull yarn over, it you have two loops, pull both through loops, okay? So yarn over, pull through loops, pull yarn, pull through two loops. At the end, you see, it just kind of like, this one is kind of like, it goes really on the side. So just remember what way you are doing your work, so you can pick up that last chain or last chain from a work, when you do. So it just kind of this way. You can know that when you do without a chain, that the stitch is kind of goes on the side, like, like this way. It doesn't go straight, as when you're doing a bit of chain. So that way you kind of like, it's so many ways you can keep your work straight. Yes, you keep your work straight. It's, remember this one when I did a chain one, and in the same time I did that single crochet in US or double crochet in UK. So I just keep like all way on the side, and then I did a chain one. You see, it's when you have a chain, you can see this one in here, your chain one. As you turn your work, the chain up here, yes, and then you made that single crochet in the first stitch or double crochet in UK, and you go over there. So it just kind of keeps your work straight. Whereas, for example, when you are doing, sometimes we do turning a work and chain, and then you're doing the same, like, single crochet in the first stitch. That's, you see, that's a make a lump. It just kind of make your those lumps. So it just kind of like know how you are actually working around. So that way. And one more tip, as you are beginning, when you are starting do this all crochet. So sometimes we are just only crocheting through one loop. You see on the top you have two loops for like a V stitch. So sometimes you will end up like catching just only one loop. You see? And then other loop it actually stays behind. So it just kind of in a like this one's what's in the front of you, it's called front loops, and what's in the back, those called back loops. So you have completely another pattern when you're doing in just only in the front loops, or when you're doing just only in the back loops. That you're making different pattern. But for regular, when you do regular single crochet in US or double crochet in UK, you usually taking two loops. You're pulling yarn through two loops, when it's two loops up here. So on a hook, you have two 2 loops on a hook and then pull through, yes? So when you're pulling, like, just make sure you have those two, that V-stitch, full V-stitch on a loop. When you pull through, you have 2 loops on a hook and pull through, okay? That is single crochet in US or double crochet in UK. So that's kind of like, one more nice tip that that you'll keep work nice. And remember, when you are doing that without a chain, that your first stitch, when you're going this one your first stitch or last stitch in the work, it's kind of seams goes on the side. So you just kind of remember picking up, that one, and pull through. That way your work keeping nice and straight, So hope those tips are helping you. And if you have any questions, let me know and I will get back to you. Thank you.